So we're very pleased to welcome Group Leader for Sales Charging Solutions at Bosch. Let's have a warm round of applause for Johnny Keklik.
Good morning, Berlin. My name is Johnny Keklik, ladies and gentlemen, and I would like to talk to you about the data quality challenge in our market. And I will build up actually the time with you. First of all, I will talk about the user experience, where you feel the pain. On the other side, some results of a field test we did. And at the end, we will talk about how we, in the ecosystem, we can handle actually the challenge together. A real story happened. A colleague of mine, he was at a supermarket. And at the supermarket, he parked his car, and a very normal car, yeah. It was not an electrical car, but somebody else had an electrical car and tried to charge. In that moment, when he tried to charge, he realized that the charging station was not working. In that moment, what's happened, he started to shake his hand. He was angry, getting as well loud. What's happened, a lot of people around him, they saw him and they were focusing on him. Say, what's going on with this guy? Then one older guy came to him and asked him, gentlemen, I have a question. I'm interested in an electrical vehicle. But how much does it cost actually to charge your vehicle? The guy was not answering this question because he was so in his movie. You know, hey, he was upset. He said, no, don't think about to get an electrical vehicle. It's a disaster. No charging station is working. You know, everywhere where I go, I have problems with charging the station, my vehicle. At the end, the older guy, it was too much for him, and he said, oh, that's too complicated for me. He turned back, and he left. A lot of other people got this conversation as well, or heard this. What this story gives us is we have to be very, very careful, you know, bringing the people to the right charging station and have a positive user experience. That's very, very important, because if we have more about that, we hear it a lot around in our private environment as well. People are not always convinced about electrical vehicles. You know, they say, okay, step by step, let's see if this is actually ready, if the infrastructure is ready for us. And this is where we are going. Okay, I forget to show you this, this slide, sorry. All right. What we at Bosch, we did a field test in Europe. And approximately, let me say, 1,500 challenges what we went and through in Italy, in Spain, in France, and in Germany. And in that field test, we found out that actually 31% of the events there, they were actually not positive. You know, there's something happened on when you went there. And guys, I'm driving as well an electrical vehicle. I had the same situation. When you are in front of it and it's not working, you are getting upset. Yeah, and this is what we have to change together. The important thing is here, what did we find, which main causes came out? And that was like 7% of the stations was not found at all. Or even the GPS data was incorrect. Yeah, okay, no charging driver will see if the GPS data is not correct, but he is driving and he doesn't see a charging station. You know, that's a problem. And that's of course a very, very, very bad experience what you have. Or even you are there, you find a charging station, you are happy, but it's not working. That means you try, you put your RFID card on it, or I don't know, there could be several problems or topics in this whole value chain why it's not working. Or even, did you experience to find the charging stations and your app tells you, yeah, there is one charging station, but you are driving around, but you don't see it. Yeah, because it's down in the parking garage or in a shopping mall somewhere or in a hotel. This information, guys, we have to, I will come later on it, we have to bring more to the end user, that he is feeling really good if he wants to find a charging station. And the most topic and the most challenge is here actually the charging station is out of order. It could have different causes. One could be under maintenance, or maybe we have a telecommunication problem. I mean, that's a big, let me say, mistake cause, root cause. We can search for it in that whole story. I think this is very important, that at the end of the day, we need one thing to always underline for ourselves. We have to minimize the risk of bad user experience, and that we cannot do as Bosch alone. Yeah, that we have to do all together in the ecosystem. And one thing what can happen is, of course, integration of information from the users. For example, we talked yesterday, in the last keynotes yesterday and today, data was always a topic. They were talking about putting pictures, and showing it to the end user, that he knows how the environment looks like. Or having a rating, a feedback to have, let me say, the best charging stations around it. Even what is important, you can have historical data to include there, and to include it in your whole system to bring it out. But what is important as well, POI data, concierge in this direction, that you bring a value as well to the driver. He's not going just and charge. No, he's going to charge, and maybe his children need to go to the playground, Spielplatz, we call it in German, or there's a restaurant. Give more information to the user at the end of the day. Give him, let me say, in his journey, a good feeling, and that's very important. Can you give you one thing at the end, and this is about a positive user feedback. When I was, for example, going and visiting my daughter on Father's Day, and on the way I'm going there, I have an electrical vehicle, by the way. I don't tell you which vehicle it is. But I'm driving with it. It was great to drive there. It's like 3 hours away from my hometown. Everything is good. I charged my phone my vehicle the whole day there, but it was not fully charged when I came back. I didn't know actually why, okay? But you know, you have to learn and live, and you have to change your behavior a little bit as well. This is very important. But we have to make it easy for the driver. We should not think from our part, hey, he will understand it very easy. No, we have to make it easy for him. But what's happened, I put it in my GPS, and it's actually a very easy explanation. I put my address, my hometown in the GPS, and he brought me to a fast charger. I went out, in 20 minutes it was on 80% again, and I drove back, continued my journey to my house. But what gives me this user experience? I had a very, very good and positive user experience. I said, wow, I will not stock in the street, you know, and therefore I'm willing still to go and to buy, not just because of my job, an electrical vehicle, yeah, and that's very, very important, I guess. At the end, I just can tell you one thing. We together, we are in responsibility to do this, and not Bosch alone. We as a big company, we can do this alone. No, nobody alone. No OEM, no Bosch, no CPO, I don't know. We are all together in the responsibility to solve this topic together, and that's very, very important. For this, guys, let's bring the trust to the electrical driver back, okay? Or not back, but bring it to him, that he is able to drive. And our market, this mass market, will continue and will be successful in the future for all of us. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. Here I come. Just a reminder to all of our participants, please do send us your questions for our speakers. You can do that via the app. Make sure you're logged into the correct session. This is especially important for the people watching from their offices or from home, our digital guests. And make sure you log into the session and click the green button and then ask and type in your questions. I would like to just ask a question myself, if I may. So you talk about how Bosch cannot do it alone, and it's really important that everybody's cooperating together. So just how can data quality be improved in cooperation? What needs to happen in the future?
Yeah. What we have to include, I mentioned before, we include external data maybe inside. Yeah, that means we take some companies, we have as well some partners we are working with to take external data, and that's like value data we can put inside and deliver as well to the CPOs or to the charge point at the end of the day. That we have, let me say, a round picture, yeah, that this information goes at the end as well to the cause problem where it is, and that's very, very important. That's one case of it. On the other side, I said integrate as well, for example, these pictures, yeah, and then send it as well, bring it in the app to the end user, that he is driving to one charging station, and he sees in the app the environment of the charging station, which is very important, and where he finds the charging station much faster than he would not have a picture.
Another aspect that comes up very often in connection with data is security. And I'm curious to hear what Bosch's approach or concerns or attitude is towards ensuring the security of data.
Okay, that's a very good question, and we are at Bosch, as a lot of people know, we are very, very strong and compliant towards security and data security. We have a big team inside of our company where it's actually fulfilling and behind data security and finding out not that is on the wrong hand. Yeah, that somebody is using something, or for example, a charging station with credit cards, but this goes more and more as well in the plug and charge area, where we will develop more and more our solutions, where we will minimize the risk there as well for the future.
Okay, does this include external cybersecurity companies that you outsource this to, or is it going to be something that's taken care of internally at Bosch?
We have, I think, that's both things. We have, first of all, we are doing it internally. We have our internal data security officers, let me say it like this, yeah. And but if there is, Bosch is never afraid or never to say, no, I'm not bringing somebody external inside if I don't have the value or the capabilities to do it. We are very open to do this.
Okay, let's have a look perhaps at some of our participant questions. We have our first question from Nadine, who writes, can you elaborate a little more on the study setup? For example, sample size, locations, participants, and so on.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I can give you now an overall headline. It's like we did it, as I said, in 4 countries in Europe. We did around 1,500 examples or tries. Yeah, let me say it like this. And the participants, they were going inside with an RFID card, trying to catch it and to get more information out of it. And I think if you want to have deeper knowledge about this, Nadine, I will show you as well later our team, where we can have as well a discussion later, and we can give you more information about that.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's have a look at another question from our participants. This one from Elon. He writes, predictive maintenance. So at Johnny, what's your or Bosch's take on it? Is it just a buzzword? If it's not, can you give a positive anecdote?
Of buzzwords, I'm not... Okay, I could say I may be a specialist on buzzwords, but I'm not. But I worked for IBM long time, for example, yeah? And we had always like big names. In that time, it was service-oriented architecture. I don't know, a lot of things were coming. Predictive maintenance is, in my point of view, and even in Bosch side, not a buzzword. This is something where we can really increase the process inside of a company, and this is where you can as well reduce your own costs. Yeah? Be prepared not to have a failure because you already fixed the problem before. And this is something where we have to invest more and more insight to this to be more professional in that area of maintenance.
Thank you. Let's take a look at another question. This one from Anirban, who writes, what are the main challenges that you face in integrating different data types?
I think one topic is, of course, we can always talk about APIs or whatever. This is how we deliver the data inside in the system. But what we have to learn, and I said we as an ecosystem has to work together, is like the willingness as well to share this information together. And this is, I think, something what is very, very important. It's like, as Bosch, we are very keen on that, and we say, there is nobody who will do this alone. And even if you are maybe the master of your data, that's okay, but you need it still in this whole ecosystem.
All right. Shall we take a look at our next question from our participants? This is Daniar, who's writing, what needs to be done to improve sharing of data between different players? So that includes OEMs, CPOs, EMPs, and so on.
Okay, it goes actually a little bit in the direction of the question before, but I think we are all connected together. Yeah, like for example, if we have our project with our customers, here it's important that we are actually bi-directional in the communication with our OEM, with the CPO, where we have the integration as well to deliver the data out to them. Yeah, and I can tell you just one example. We have things building up the North America market. And building up the North America market in that area is a little bit different than here in Europe. And what's happened is that you have to think about how you will be. First of all, we had in the keynote before the way how you have your business model there, but very important as well, how you integrate your data together, because on which standard you are agreeing and so on. And this is very, very important that we are going all the same direction. It doesn't matter which of the players in the ecosystem.
Okay. Do we have a few more questions? We do. This one is from Martin. He writes, people are lazy, and to not always call the CPO if there's a problem. Do you think regular physical inspection of chargers is necessary for CPOs to maintain the quality of the hardware?
Yeah, I mean, at the end, it's, I think, important that the charging stations work. Yeah, let me say it. I give the answer generally. Predictive maintenance could be a part, like we had it before. Yeah, that the charging station will be not in the situation that it's not working, or that the user is always able to use the charging station for their vehicle. But out of this question, if they are not lazy, Martin, I give another example, for example. Then, if they are calling, you know what is very important? That the support is good as well. That means if you call then the support and you have a problem on your charging station and the first level support cannot help you, then you are really angry, yeah, and you are really helpless somewhere around the world. And for this reason, I think here as well, we at Bosch, we put a lot of focus on the support structure, that we fulfill the best standard in the market there.
Thank you very much. Let's take a look at a few more questions I think we have time for. This one is from Kevin, and he writes, since many CPOs won't correct their data, even when giving them sufficient feedback, are third parties who specialize in POI data quality the most reliable source?
I mean, before we decide, or in general, we decide to work with some company in that area, yeah, or partner in that area, of course, you analyze the situation there. Yeah, it's it's not an RFQ, but you are going and you're checking what you are getting in your whole ecosystem and in your process. And I think this PUI data, this could be really, if it's reliable, like you're writing here, this could be very valuable for everybody out of the market. And we should be open there as well to integrate them in our solutions at the end of the day. Of course, we have to check it, because at the end of the day, one thing is clear. Sorry for my saying, I don't know it now to say it in a different word, but at the end, it's always, if you put something bad in, it comes bad out. That's how it is, and not just on POI data, it's on different levels, yeah. And you have to be very important how, with what kind of information you feed your system.
Okay, let's take a look at maybe a few more questions. We do have time. This one comes from Boris. CPO, OWN, EMSP, or Google, who should or will solve the current deplorable state of data quality?
Okay, now you are. That's a question where I have to be a visionary, maybe, or have to look very much in the future now. Of course, I think again, we all together we have to solve it together. It's not just Google alone, yeah, or the CPO alone, or we as Bosch alone. I think I repeated it already today several times. We together we have to see that this information and let me say the value of the data will be on the highest standard.
Okay, so no one can have a crystal ball and look into the future. All right, let's take a look. Maybe if we do have another question from Achim. He writes, the EU is very keen on open data. How will Bosch implement these regulatory demands?
Yeah, I mean, we are working very close on this. We have to see at the end of the day how the regulatory looks like. And we are, as Bosch, we are working as well with, let me say, a lot of government, with the VDA and with everybody together, how the standard looks like and how this open data could be integrated in that whole environment.
Okay. I think we have one more question from our participants. From Martin, and he writes, charge point data quality has an additional challenge in-car sat-nav systems, for example, in Google Android Automotive, Google Maps, based EV platforms. How can this challenge be addressed?
I mean, the question is here, sometimes the responsibilities has to be clear as well here. If we are talking about I mean, all of us, we have different apps in our mobiles, yeah, what we are using. And at the end, sometimes the navigation is not the best direction. If you are from that area and you say, why this navigation drives me in this area? I would drive totally different, yeah. And here I think this is something where as well the map provider has to, and they are improving, they are on a high level, but they have to improve as well here to bring the best way and the easiest way to the drivers.
Okay, my clock tells me we have just under 4 minutes. I think we have a few more questions. Maybe we can get to them. From Carolina, how do you trust the data?
Yeah, as I said it before, how do I trust data? Data is, you have to validate it, yeah? You have to, as I said, we don't take all the data and bring it in the system, yeah? We have really to analyze it in a good way. And thank God, I will do one thing later, where I will show you as well our specialists here for this topic especially. And they are validating this data that we can at the end trust the data in the whole environment. And of course, the risk will be always there, but we need to bring a nearly 100% trust there. Yeah, that's very important.
Okay, and maybe one more from participants. Let's have a look. Yeah, there is another from Boria. He writes, how are you going to gather the data from users?
For example, we have, I talked about different apps, what's outside. Mm-hmm. And one app, for example, our Charge My EV app, And the user of Charge My EV app, they can be somewhere and they get actually benefits if they are clicking and making, as I said before, the pictures, or sending us some ratings about it, or if there are difficulties to find it, but they found a way to do this, they give the feedback to us, and we can include it in the whole system. I think this is coming out all of the user towards this apps. What's are outside in the market.
And just, John, maybe one last question from me. So if I'm a potential customer, what can I expect from Bosch then?
You can expect from us that we will be always behind you, especially where you are, here in Europe, in North America, or in Asia. We are an EMP. We are as well in the CPMS environment. Yeah, we are very, let me say, very strong, and we have a best-of-breed coverage worldwide. In Europe, a very, very high level. In America, we are on the way to really to be one of the big player on coverage of the charge points in North America, and even in Asia. But one thing is the most important, and now I would say, Bosch team, please, can you stand up? These are the Bosch guys, and at the end, our founder, Robert Bosch, said this, at the end, we can have a great solution, and we are an engineering company, but it's us. Yeah, please talk to the guys later as well, not just to me. That's us. Talk to us, and we give you the answers. Or we don't have always maybe exactly the right answer you want, but what we have, we will work on you to have the right answer and the right solution at the end of the day.
John and Keklik from Bosch, thank you so very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.